Be ready. Start. To begin with, we might like to state here that the facts of the case undoubtedly reveal that if the provisions of the section 4(1)(b) were to apply, it may work serious hardship to the respondents' assessees as contended by learned senior counsel for the assessees. But as we are concerned with interpretation of a statutory provision, the mere fact that a correct interpretation may lead to hardship would not be a valid consideration for distorting the language of the statutory provisions. Section 3 of the Act is the charging provision. The taxable event for attracting excise duty is the manufacture of excisable goods. The charge of incidence of duty stands attracted as soon as taxable event takes place, and the facility of postponement of collection of duty under the Act or rules framed thereunder can in no way affect the incidence of duty. Further, the sale or ownership of the end products is also not relevant for the purposes of taxable event under the central excise. Since excise is a duty on manufacture, duty is payable whether or not goods are sold. Duty is payable even when goods are used within the factory or goods are captively consumed within factory for further manufacture. Excise duty is payable even in case of free supply or given as replacement. Therefore, sale is not a necessary condition for charging excise duty. Section 3 of the Act provides for levy of duty of excise, and Section 3(1) thereof states that there shall be levied and collected in the prescribed manner a duty of excise on excisable goods manufactured in India at the rates set forth in the first schedule. Neither Section 3 nor the first schedule lays down the manner in which ad valorem price of the goods has to be calculated. This is found in Section 4 of the Act. Section 4 of the Act lays down the measure by reference to which the duty of excise is to be assessed. The duty of excise is linked and chargeable with reference to the value of the excisable goods, and the value is further defined in express terms by the said section. In every case, the fundamental criteria for computing the value of an excisable article is the normal price at which the excisable article is sold by the manufacturer, where the buyer is not a related person and the price is the sole consideration. If these conditions are satisfied and proved to the satisfaction of the adjudicating authority, then the burden which lies on the assessee under section 4 subsection 1 subsection A would have been discharged, and the price would not be ignored, and the transaction would fall under the protective umbrella contained in the section itself. Section 4 of the Act is the core provision containing statutory formula for assessment and collection at ad valorem basis of duty under central excise laws. Therefore, the section requires to be noticed, and some of the expressions contained therein which are necessary for the purpose of the case require to be analyzed to appreciate the stand of the parties, since the large part of the demand in question primarily pertains to the period after the year 1975. Section 4 of the Act lays down the valuation of excisable goods chargeable to duty of excise. The duty of excise is with reference to value, and such value shall be subject to other provisions of section 4, that is the normal price at which such goods are ordinarily sold by the assessee to a buyer in the course of wholesale trade for delivery at the time and place of removal, where the buyer is not a related person and the price is the sole consideration for the sale. To determine the value, the legislature has created a legal fiction to equate the value of the goods to the price which is actually obtained by the assessee when such goods are sold in the market or the nearest equivalent thereof. In other words, the legal fiction so created by Section 4 makes excise duty leviable on the actual market value of the goods or the nearest equivalent thereof. It is well settled that whenever the legislature uses certain terms or expressions of well known legal significance or connotations, the courts must interpret them as used or understood in the popular sense if they are not defined under the act or the rules framed thereunder. Popular sense means that sense which people conversant with the subject matter with which the statute is dealing would attribute to it. The normal rule of interpretation is that the words used by the legislature are generally a safe guide to its intention. Thank you.